Good morning, all of you. I am going to start a continuation of interceptive orthodontics. Last class I had discussed about serial extraction. So today I am discussing about cross bites. The contents are cross bites, anterior and posterior cross bites. I'll be discussing about etiology, diagnosis and treatment, and anterior diastemas. Under that, I will be discussing about etiology, diagnosis, and treatment. Anterior and posterior crossbites are malocclusions which involve one or more teeth in which the maxillary teeth occlude lingually with the antagonistic mandibular teeth. If the midlines undergo a compensatory or habitual shift when the teeth occlude in crossbite is termed as functional shift. A crossbite can be of dental or skeletal origin or a combination of the both. Graber is defined as crossbite is a condition where one or more teeth may be malposed abnormally, buccally or lingually or labially with reference to the opposing tooth. According to the American Academy of Orthodontics, it is an abnormal relationship of a tooth or teeth to the opposing teeth in which normal buccolingual or labiolingual relationships are reversed. You can see the picture showing crossbite, posterior crossbite. Based on the classification, crossbites are divided into two types, that is according to the location in the arch, anterior crossbite and posterior crossbite. Based on the nature of the crossbite, there are three types: dental, skeletal, and functional crossbite. The etiology of anterior crossbite are presence of primary tooth, that is a palatal deflection of its erupting successor. A labially positioned supernumerary tooth leads to torsoversion and lingual deflection of an incisor, or trauma to the anterior primary tooth can lead to displacement of permanent successor and eruption of the teeth in crossbite. Crowding or abnormal displacement, that is an arch length deficiency, leads to lingual deflection of permanent incisor. Supernumerary tooth may lead to crossbite, and habit of biting the upper lip also lead to crossbite. Habits like thumb sucking and mouth breathing lowers the position of the tongue, and there was no balance of forces between tongue and buccal musculature, leads to narrowing of the upper arch further, which results in crossbite. Retarded development of the maxilla, collapse of maxillary arch in congenital defects, especially cleft lip and palate. Other cause is forwardly positioned mandible, wider part of the mandibular arch occluding with narrower part of the maxilla. Unilateral hypo or hyperplastic growth of any of the jaws, either maxilla or mandible. Next is functional crossbite. It is an occlusal interference that requires the mandible to shift either anteriorly and or laterally in order to achieve maximum occlusion. Scissor bite is nothing but one or more of the adjacent posterior teeth are either positioned completely buccally or lingually to the antagonistic teeth and exhibit a vertical overlap. What is skeletal crossbite? It is a malocclusion with maxillary posterior teeth occluding lingual to the mandibular due to malposition of the entire skeletal segments. Moving on to the anterior crossbite. It is a condition characterized by reverse overjet, wherein one or more maxillary anterior teeth are in lingual relation to the mandibular teeth. Picture showing crossbite, that is between 1-1 and 4-1. It can involve one or more incisors or canines, usually involves single tooth, or either of a dental or skeletal origin, as I already told you, pseudoclass or versus true class 3. These are the pictures showing according to the number of the teeth involved, single tooth crossbite representing the first picture and segmental crossbite depicting the second picture. Entire segment is which is in crossbite. Development of anterior crossbite should be intercepted or treated at an early age, self-perpetuating if present in the primary dentition, or it may manifest in mixed as well as the permanent dentition. To prevent a minor orthodontic problem from progressing into a major dentofacial anomaly, crossbite should be treated whenever it is diagnosed. Treatment of dentoalveolar anterior crossbite, it is mainly depends upon the age of the child, cooperation of the child, whether to give removable or fixed, eruption status of the teeth, space availability, and a sequence of eruption. A dental crossbite result from the tipping or rotation of a tooth or teeth. The condition is localized and does not involve the basal bone. Skeletal crossbites involve disharmony of the craniofacial skeleton. Treatment considerations. Apart from what I have told you, a crossbite should be considered in the context of the patient's total treatment needs. That is, anterior crossbite can lead to attrition of the tooth or teeth, altered skeletal growth, decreased arch perimeter, thinning of the labial plate of the alveolar bone, and gingival recession in relation to the lower arch, poor aesthetics. A simple anterior crossbite can be aligned as soon as the condition is noted. If there is sufficient space, otherwise, space needs to be created first. Appliances used for correction of anterior crossbite are anterior tongue blade therapy, inclined plane, composite plane, reverse stainless steel crown, Holly's appliance with jet spring, use of screws embedded in acrylic. So this is the picture, three pictures showing the tongue blade. It is used while the incisors are still erupting and when single tooth is in crossbite. The tongue blade is inserted at an angle between the teeth and the patient is asked to bite firmly for 5 seconds followed by the rest. This is repeated 25 times for 3 minutes a day. It is discontinued if unsuccessful even after 2 weeks. The main disadvantage with this is that the patient cooperation is very, very important. That is the picture showing that it is tongue blood is nothing but ice cream that stick. So it is showing like it should be placed in the mouth, contacting the palatal aspect of the tooth, and should rest on the mandibular tooth in crossbite, which acts as a fulcrum, and patient is asked to rotate the oral part of the blade upwards and forwards. Next is Catalan's appliance, that is inclined plane. It is made up of cast metal cemented on the mandibular incisors, that is Catalan's appliance. Second is lower inclined plane, that is it is used when more than one teeth are in crossbite. The appliance is made of acrylic and produces a forward sliding motion of the maxillary incisors on closure. This appliance should not be worn for more than 4 weeks as it may cause supra-eruption of the posterior teeth leading to anterior open bite. The child may experience temporary discomfort in speech and food intake. So the angulation should be 45 degrees to the maxillary occlusal plane. That is angulation with long axis of the lower incisors. What happens is which forces the maxillary teeth in labial position. So a crossbite is corrected. Whenever you do correction of a crossbite, there are a few requisites, that is prerequisites To treat single tooth or segmental crossbite. Crossbite is to palatally displaced maxillary incisor, enough space in maxillary arch to align the teeth, and developmental stages of the mandibular incisor should be relatively well aligned to allow appliance fabrication, and patient should be cooperative, as I already discussed. What are the disadvantages of this inclined plane? As I already told, patient encounters problems in speech and chewing during the therapy. There are certain dietary restrictions. If appliance is used for more than 6 weeks, it may result in anterior open bite. Appliance needs frequent cementation. Inclined plane cemented on the teeth are more prone for trauma, especially avulsion or luxation from a blow to the chin. If incisors are periodontally compromised or if malaligned teeth, wearing for a long duration may affect the periodontal status of the teeth. Next is composite plane or composite bonding. An inclined plane is fabricated on the lower incisors with the composite instead of the acrylic. The reason is that it is very easy to Kroll suggested the use of bonded compomer slope based on the assumption that the compomer can be easily removed once the crossbite is corrected. These are the pictures showing. Next is reverse stainless steel crown. It is used when there is a single tooth crossbite. The crown is cemented backward on the maxillary incisor. This forces the upper tooth to move out towards the lip as the child bites down on the lower teeth. The crossbite can be corrected in 2 to 4 weeks, but this is not advisable because giving a stainless steel crown in the anterior teeth is most of the parents they don't agree because of the metal. Next is palatal appliances. Fixed or removable palatal appliances can be used for correction of crossbite for one or more tooth in locked teeth, particularly lateral incisors are in crossbite. S-shaped palatal wire is activated at weekly intervals. So this is the appliance showing. This is the T-spring appliance, the fixed type. Auxiliary wires are soldered on to a lingual arch, can be activated to exert tipping forces on the incisors. So 2 mm per month it is activated. Next is a double cantilever spring or Z spring. You can say maxillary appliances with Z springs and posterior bite plane. It is used when many teeth are in crossbite along with the posterior bite plane. The posterior bite plane is used to keep the anterior teeth out of occlusion so that the incisors can jump the bite. So one it can be used as I told one or two maxillary teeth. So you will get 1.5 to 2 mm movement per week, and they should wear for 24 hours. A longer time for correction bite plane is leads to open bite. That's why always you should give the lingual labial bow. So one of the disadvantages is effective only when there is enough space for aligning the teeth. These are the pictures showing single tooth anterior crossbite, which is done by me in the department. Pre-treatment you can see apply with the appliance in the mouth, and during the treatment, third picture, and finally post treatment you can appreciate the correction of the single tooth crossbite. Next is screws embedded in acrylic, also called as screw appliances. So these are the two appliances you can appreciate in the picture. Acrylic appliances incorporated various sizes of screws to correct the either individual tooth or segmental crossbite. The appliances consists of jack screw inserted in a palatal acrylic appliance. It is a removable slow expansion device. So different types of screws are incorporated in this appliance. Micro screws will be used to correct individual teeth, and multiple micro screws to correct individual teeth in a segmental crossbite. Mini screws up to two teeth correction, and medium screws are used to correct segmental crossbites capable of moving 4 to 6 teeth in a segment. Next is screw appliance is 3D screw, also called as three-dimensional screw. It is capable of correcting posterior as well as an anterior crossbite. It is ideal to treat anterior crossbite associated with pseudo class 3 malocclusion. That is the appliance which you can appreciate in the picture. So posteriorly two Adams clasps and anteriorly one labial bow, and this screw is available commercially. You have to incorporate during the acrylization, and yellow color arrow mark you can see, that is the direction of the activation. Along with the screw, key will be provided. So for activation you have to use the key. So as I told you, these are the pictures showing the reverse stainless steel crown. It is untrimmed or slightly trimmed stainless steel crown. It acts as an inclined plane. It is less expensive. The disadvantages are difficult to check degree of the tooth movement and opposing tooth mobility because of a constant pressure, and compensatory lingual movement of the lower incisors, and little retention if the tooth is partially erupted, and main drawback is anesthetic. Whenever you delay the treatment of anterior crossbite, what will happen? There will be a loss of arch length and traumatic occlusion with resultant stripping of the gingival tissue and pocket formation on the labial aspect of the mandibular tooth. Unsightly wear facets on the incisal and labial surface of the maxillary incisors can be seen. Next is moving on to the posterior crossbite. So this is the picture shown the posterior crossbite. Okay, on the right side. This is an abnormal transverse relationship between upper and lower posterior teeth. Instead of mandibular buccal cusp occluding in the central foci of maxillary posterior, they occlude buccally to the maxillary buccal cusps. This early correction of unilateral posterior crossbite has been shown to improve functional conditions significantly and largely eliminate the morphological and the positional asymmetries of the mandible. Functional shifts should be eliminated as soon as possible with early correction and to avoid symmetrical growth. The treatment divisions depends upon the amount and type of movement, whether it is dipping versus bodily movement or rotation or dental versus orthopedic movement, the availability of the space, anterior-posterior, transverse and vertical skeletal relationships, growth status, patient cooperation. According to the number of teeth involved, single tooth posterior crossbite and segmental crossbite. This is the classification. According to the existence, unilateral crossbite and bilateral crossbite. So according to the extent, it can be simple posterior. Buccal non-occlusion is maxillary posteriors occlude entirely and buccal aspect of the mandibular posteriors. That is called scissors bite. Lingual non-occlusion is maxillary posteriors occlude entirely on lingual aspect of the mandibular posteriors. You can appreciate in the picture. Skeletal anterior crossbite is due to retarded maxillary growth or maxilla, that is backwardly positioned or excessive mandibular growth. Skeletal posterior crossbites are characterized by narrow upper arch, as already discussed. Treatment of posterior crossbite. So first thing is diagnosis, evaluation of the lateral functional shift. Posterior crossbites are associated with bilateral maxillary constriction with functional mandibular shift. In the primary dentition, posterior crossbites are common. The incidence is 1 to 17%. It can be genetic or hereditary. It should be treated to prevent asymptomatic position of the condyles and growth, and 64% is treated by selective grinding of the primary canines given by Corral. Fairly excessive enamel removal on the primary canines and molars on the affected side. Other option. So the appliances which are used for correction of the posterior crossbite are removable appliance with jack screw, quad helix and W arch. Intramaxillary suture often responds well to the palatal expansion because interdigitation of mid-palatal sutures are not established. So treatment of posterior crossbites are slow expansion appliances. Under that, screw appliances, coffin spring, quad helix appliance, shoulder W arch, night eye expander, cross elastic technique. Rapid maxillary expansion appliances are divided into removable and fixed. Screw in the midline with clasps on the posterior teeth, you can appreciate in the picture. And in the acrylic plate is split in the middle, and activation of screw forces the two halves apart to result in a desired expansion. More effective in the early mixed dentition period, less effective in late mixed and permanent dentition period because ossification of the mid palatal sutures already takes place. So this opens 1 mm per complete revolution, single quarter turn, that is 0.25 mm of the movement will takes place. So these appliances designed to similar to the one used for correction of the anterior crossbite, but the position of the screw is more posterior in the midline. There are chances of dentoalveolar tipping of the posterior teeth and requires patient cooperation and constant evaluation. This activation of this appliance is open with the key in direction of arrow mark, as I told you. One turn, quarter turn in the 3 days. Children, because of the wider periodontal ligament, 1 quarter turn once in a week in case of adults, and removable plates will expand arch by tipping posterior teeth buccally, not by opening the mid palatal suture. It is not indicated for correction of skeletal crossbite or dental expansion more than 2 mm. That is very important. The disadvantage of this is patient's cooperation because it is a removable type. Displace easily because it limits the force that can be used. Less successful comparatively. Next is coffin spring. Coffin spring, it is a removable appliance for correction of crossbite in young children. This was introduced by H. Coffin in 1881. It is a slow bilaterally symmetrical expanded screw. When used in mixed dentition stage, it produces skeletal changes because you can see in the picture, split the mid palate. Ideal to treat this appliance is unilateral crossbite. This is a 1 to 2 mm diameter omega wire. Base is placed posteriorly in the midline. 2 separate acrylic wings around wireframe work on slopes of the palate with retentive clasps. Activation is pulling wings apart first in the premolar and then in the molar region, or with 3-prong plier at a base of the omega. being soldered to the molars. Next is soldered W arch appliance. So you can appreciate in the picture showing 0.036 or 0.040 inch stainless steel wire contoured to the arch form and soldered to stainless steel bands and most distal teeth involved in the crossbite. Wire should be free of tissue by 1 to 2 mm to prevent the impinging during activation. Activation, how you have to do is in the anterior region, bending palatal portion of arm near the shoulder joint. In the molar region, bending anterior palatal portion. It provides more anterior than posterior expansion. Expansion of 1 mm per side per month is indicated. Delivers proper force levels when expanded, approximately 4 mm wider than its passive width. Cemented during active treatment and removed only the additional activation or adjustment. Most of the crossbites requires 3 months for correction and 3 months retention after active treatment to prevent relapse. So soldered W arch Porter appliance already showed. Usually causes buccal or labial tipping. Young children palatal expansion can take place. Used mainly for posterior crossbite. Extension of an arm include canine lateral. Okay. Next is quad helix. So there quad means 4. You can appreciate in the picture. It is a fixed device with molar bands cemented of the first permanent molars. The disadvantage is that it is difficult to fabricate and adjusting is done without removal from the mouth. It is adjusted once a month and requires 3 to 4 months for correction. So it is capable of doing the dentoalveolar expansion of the molars as well as the premolar. Being soldered to the molars, already told you, and fixed appliance 0.038 wire should be molar bands, maxillary first permanent molar. Slow expansion in adolescent patients and rapid skeletal expansion in case of pre-adolescents, according to Currier. Indications are bilateral or unilateral crossbites in primary and permanent dentition, and contraindications are skeletal crossbite and single tooth crossbite. So you can see there are 2 anterior and 2 posterior helices, and one stands for anterior bridge, that is wire between 2 anterior helices. 2 denotes the palatal bridge, that is a wire between anterior and posterior helices. Outer arm, that is a free wire, ends were adapted to premolars with an soldered to molar bands. So 0.5 mm to 1 mm per week increases the intermolar width up to 8 mm. Next is cross elastic. So you can appreciate in the picture. So here bands with hooks are placed on the palatal aspect of the upper tooth and buccal aspect of lower tooth that are in crossbite. Orthodontic elastics are engaged in the hooks and worn for 24 hours per day. Correction may take 3 weeks to 3 months. More changes will be reflected in the position of the maxillary molars due to cancellous nature of the maxillary alveolar bone. You can appreciate, okay, hook and button is soldered and elastics 0.25 inches heavy rubber should be placed and changed until that means it is corrected. So removable plates used for unilateral crossbite correction, and the appliances are split acrylic plane, jack screw and Adams clasp and posterior teeth for the treatment. 2 segments are connected by a jack screw. So that's what. Next is Schwarz appliance. It is a horseshoe shaped removable type. Normally, it is used in the mandibular teeth. Ideal in mixed dentition cases with mild to moderate crowding and in the anterior region. Expansion screw should be kept in the midline. Is retained by ball clasp. You will get retention with the ball and clasp. Activation once a day. 0.25 mm expansion in the midline produces up to 3 to 5 mm. This is called Schwarz appliance. Next is rapid maxillary expansion. Rapid maxillary or expansion or split palate used for skeletal posterior crossbite. It produces high forces capable of splitting the mid palatal sutures. Fixed removable appliances produces high forces. That there are types. There are two types. Tooth-borne appliances. Example is Hyrex screw appliance and Isaacson appliance. Tooth and tissue-borne appliances are Derishwell appliance and Haas appliance. So this is the picture showing Hyrex screw appliance. Hyrex screw has the ability to keep it clean, and that is a hygienic rapid expander. This is a fixed type. Heavy wire extensions which can be adapted to control of palate and soldered to the metal bands or cast cap splints are a wire frame work that has acrylic splints. Okay, that is regarding the so few points about rapid palatal expansion and slow palatal expansion. So rapid palatal expansion are forces transmitted on the suture, 2 turns initially and 2 turns per day until the suture opens. You have to do the activation. Recommended for more mature patients in rapid palatal expansion. Whereas in slow palatal expansion is less pressure to the teeth and the sutures. So slow expansion with 1 turn, that is 1/4 mm of the screw every other day in these younger patients because it is more physiologic and equally effective. The diastemas. This is also called as midline diastemas. You can see diastemas are nothing but the spacing between the two permanent incisors in the maxillary arch. An anterior midline spacing between the two maxillary central incisors are called as diastema. Closure occurs only after eruption of the canines. Closure should be postponed until complete eruption of the laterals and canines. The etiology of midline diastemas are it is normal development of the occlusion or due to ugly like duckling stage, large frenum, or in case of mesodens or habits, peg-shaped lateral incisors, loss of tooth resulting in drift, discrepancies between the tooth size and jaw size, okay, and presence of mesodens or congenitally missing teeth or abnormal pressure habits like tongue thrusting and digit sucking, or it could be hereditary or racial predisposition like blacks, American blacks, it is more prominent. Mesodistal angulation of the teeth and tooth anomalies like peg-shaped laterals. So pictures, a little few pictures I showed you, that is generalized spacing and diastema, frenum hard and soft, and missing tooth in the picture showing lateral incisor. Treatment is divided into 3 phases. That is, first thing is removal of the cause. If there is a high frenal attachment, the frenectomy has to be done. Then active treatment followed by retention. So what are the things you can use that is appliances. Holly's appliance incorporating finger springs distal to the central incisors can close the small diastemas in 3 months. You can appreciate in the first picture. Second is split labial bow appliances. That is incorporating split labial bow along with the retentive components, that is Adams or C or ball clasp. The labial bow are extended up to the distal aspect of the opposite central incisors. So these are the fixed orthodontic appliances used for closure of the midline diastema. Elastic threads stretched in a figure of 8 fashion, which you can appreciate in the first picture. Then second picture shows elastic chains between the central incisors. Third picture is a closed coil spring stretched. Treatment protocol is wait for eruption of the permanent canines, re-evaluate spacing, determine etiology, development, trauma, treatment plan, whether it is limited or comprehensive, selection of the appropriate orthodontic appliances, that is removable, fixed, or to finish with the parallel routes. Additional procedures if needed, the like bonding and frenectomy performed after space closure. Retention requirements, whether it is fixed or removable, you have to choose. These are the few references taken from this material. And to conclude on this crossbite, today's topic, early diagnosis and successful treatment of developing malocclusions can have both short term and long term benefits while achieving the goals of the occlusal harmony and function and dentofacial aesthetics. So, we periodontists are an advantageous position in identifying a developing malocclusion, thus reducing or eliminating the need for corrective therapy in the later adult life. So, management of these early orthodontic problems includes the recognition and diagnosis of possible risk factors and appropriate treatment of dentofacial abnormalities. Thank you.